2 Kings 11. When Athaliah the mother of Ahaziah saw that her son was dead, she arose and destroyed all the royal family. But Jehosheba, King Joram's daughter, Ahaziah's sister, took Joash, Ahaziah's son, and stole him from among the king's sons, whom they killed, and put him and his nurse in the chamber, and hid him from Athaliah, and so they didn't kill him. And he was with her hidden in the house of the Lord 6 years, and Athaliah reigned over the country. And in the 7th year she sent Jehoiada, and took the centurions, and the captains, and the guard, and put them with her in the house of the Lord, and she made a covenant with them, and swore to them in the house of the Lord, and she showed them the king's son. And she commanded them, saying, This is what you shall do, a third part of you that go in on the Sabbath shall do the guard of the king's house. And another third part shall be at the gate of Shur, and the other third part at the gate behind the guard, so shall you guard this house, keeping everyone away. And the 2 parts of you, that is, all who go out on the Sabbath, shall guard the house of the Lord with the king. And ye shall surround the king, every man with his weapons in his hand, and he that entereth between the ranks shall slay him, and you shall be with the king when he goes out and when he comes in. So the centurions did according to all that Jehoiada the priest had commanded, taking his men every man, both those who went in on the Sabbath and those who went out on the Sabbath, and they went to Jehoiada the priest. And the priest gave the centurions the spears and the shields that had been King David's, which were in the house of the Lord. And the guards stationed themselves, each one with weapons in his hand, from the right side of the house to the left side of the house, on the side of the altar, and on the side of the house, around the king. Then Jehoiada brought out the king's son, and put the crown on him, and gave him the testimony, and made him king, and anointed him, and clapped their hands, and said, Long live the king. And Athaliah, hearing the voice of the guards and the people, went to the people in the house of the Lord. And she looked, and, behold, the king was standing by the pillar, as was customary, and the princes and the trumpeters by the king, and all the people of the land were rejoicing and blowing the trumpets. Then Athaliah rent her clothes, and cried, Treason! Betrayal! But Jehoiada the priest commanded the centurions who commanded the troops, saying to them, Take her out of the ranks, and whom after that slay with the sword. For the priest said, Do not kill her in the house of the Lord. And they laid hold of her, and she went by the way of the horse entrance to the king's house, and there they killed her. And Jehoiada made a covenant between the Lord and the king and the people, that they might be the people of the Lord, as also between the king and the people. Then all the people of the land entered the house of Baal, and they tore it down, and its altars, and its images, utterly broke down, and Muttan, priest of Baal, they killed before the altars. So the priest set officers over the house of the Lord. And he took the centurions, and the captains, and the guard, and all the people of the land, and they led the king from the house of the Lord, and went by the way of the gate of the guard, into the king's house, and he sat on the throne of kings. And all the people of the land rejoiced, and the city rested, after they had killed Athaliah with the sword beside the king's house. Joash was 7 years old when they made him king. 2 Kings 12. In the 7th year of Jehu began Joash to reign, and 40 years he reigned in Jerusalem, and his mother's name was Zibiah, from Beersheba. And Joash did that which was right in the eyes of the Lord all the days that Jehoiada the priest directed him. Only the tops were not taken away, because the people still sacrificed and burned incense on the high places. And Joash said to the priests, All the money for the holy things that may be brought into the house of the Lord, that is, the money of the one who registers the enrollment, the money of each person according to his valuation, and all the money that he brings each willingly to the house of the Lord. The priests receive him, each one of his acquaintances, and they themselves repair the cracks in the house, every crack that is found in it. But it came to pass, in the 23rd year of King Joash, that the priests still had not repaired the breaches in the house. Then King Joash called Jehoiada the priest and the other priests, and said to them, Why do you not repair the breaches of the house? Now therefore, do not take any more money from your acquaintances, but give it to repair the cracks in the house. And the priests consented not to take any more money from the people, and not to repair the breaches in the house. But Jehoiada the priest took a chest and made a hole in the lid, and he put it at the foot of the altar, at the right hand of those who entered the house of the Lord. And the priests who guarded the entrance to the gate put there all the money that was brought into the house of the Lord. It came to pass, when they saw that there was already much money in the vault, the king's scribe went up with the high priest, and they counted and bagged the money that was found in the house of the Lord. And the money, after being weighed, they gave into the hands of those who did the work, who had charge of the house of the Lord, and they distributed it to the carpenters and builders who repaired the house of the Lord, as well as the bricklayers and the caballeros, and to buy wood and ashlars to repair the breaches of the house of the Lord, and for all that was needed to repair the house. However, from the money that was brought into the house of the Lord, neither silver bowls nor forks nor basins nor trumpets, nor any golden vessel or silver vessel for the house of the Lord. For they gave it to those who did the work, and repaired the house of the Lord with it. Nor did they ask for accounts from the men into whose hands they handed over that money, to give it to those who did the work, because they acted faithfully. But the money for the sacrifice of trespasses, and the money for the sacrifice of sins, was not brought into the house of the Lord, because it was for the priests. Then Hazael king of Syria went up and fought against Gath, and took it. Then Hazael resolved to march against Jerusalem. But Joash king of Judah took all the holy things that Jehoshaphat, Jehoram, and Ahaziah, his fathers, kings of Judah, had consecrated, and all the gold that was found in the treasures of the house of the Lord and in the king's house, and sent him to Hazael, king of Syria, and so he turned away from Jerusalem. Now the rest of the acts of Joash, and all that he did, are they not written in the book of the Chronicles of the kings of Judah? And the servants of Joash arose, and conspired against him to smite him in the house of Millo, in the way that goes down to Selah. For Jozachar the son of Shimeth and Jozabad the son of Shomer, his servants, smote him, and he died, and they buried him with his fathers in the city of David. And Amaziah his son reigned in his stead. 2 Kings 13. In the 23rd year of Joash the son of Ahaziah king of Judah began Jehoahaz the son of Jehu to reign over Israel and Samaria, and reigned 17 years. And he did what was evil in the sight of the Lord, because he followed the sins of Jeroboam the son of Nebat, who made Israel to sin. He did not depart from them. Therefore the anger of the Lord was kindled against Israel, and he delivered them into the hand of Hazael king of Syria, and into the hand of Ben-Hadad son of Hazael, all those days. But Jehoahaz pleaded before the face of the Lord, and the Lord heard, because he saw the oppression of Israel, for the king of Syria oppressed them. And the Lord gave Israel a savior, and they went out from under the hand of the Syrians, and the children of Israel dwelt in their tents, as in the past. Yet they did not depart from the sins of the house of Jeroboam, which they made Israel to sin, but he walked in them, and the grove also stood in Samaria. For he left not Jehoahaz of the people but 50 horsemen, 10 chariots, and 10,000 men on foot, because the king of Syria had destroyed them, and made them like dust, by trampling them down. Now the rest of the acts of Jehoahaz, and all that he did, and his power, are they not written in the book of the Chronicles of the kings of Israel? And Jehoahaz slept with his fathers, and they buried him in Samaria, and Jehosh's son reigned in his stead. In the 37th year of Joash king of Judah began Jehoash the son of Jehoahaz to reign over Israel and Samaria, and reigned 16 years. And he did what was evil in the sight of the Lord. He did not depart from any of the sins of Jeroboam the son of Nebat, which he made Israel to sin, but he walked in them. Now the rest of the acts of Jehoash, and all that he did, and his power, wherewith he fought against Amaziah king of Judah, are they not written in the book of the Chronicles of the kings of Israel? And Jehoash slept with his fathers, and Jeroboam sat on his throne, and Jehoash was buried in Samaria with the kings of Israel. And Elisha was sick of the disease of which he died, and Jehoash king of Israel went down to him, and wept on his face, and said, my father, the chariot of Israel, and his horsemen. And Elisha said to him, take a bow and arrows. And took a bow and arrows. Then he said to the king of Israel, put your hand on the bow. And he laid his hand on him, and Elisha laid his hands on the king's hands. And he said, open the window towards the east. And he opened it. Then Elisha said, shoot. And shot, and he said, the arrow of deliverance from the Lord is the arrow of deliverance against the Syrians, for thou shalt smite the Syrians, in Aphek, until he consume them. He said more, take the arrows. And took them. Then he said to the king of Israel, smite the land. And he smote it thrice, and it ceased. Then the man of God was very angry with him, and said, 5 or 6 times you should have smitten her, then you would smite the Syrians until you consumed them, but now thou shalt smite the Syrians 3 times. Then Elisha died, and they buried him. Now the troops of the Moabites invaded the land at the beginning of the year. And it came to pass, as they were burying a man, behold, they saw a troop, and they cast the man into the tomb of Elisha, and when the man fell into it, and touched the bones of Elisha, he revived, and rose up on his feet. And Hazael king of Syria oppressed Israel all the days of Jehoahaz. But the Lord had mercy on them, and had compassion on them, and returned to them for the sake of his covenant with Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and would not destroy them, nor cast them out from his presence. And Hazael king of Syria died, and Ben-Hadad his son reigned in his place. And Jehoash the son of Jehoahaz again took the cities from the hand of Ben-Hadad, which he had taken from the hand of Jehoahaz his father in the war. 3 times Jehoash smote him, and he recovered the cities of Israel. Thanks for watching this video. Please subscribe to our channel, leave your like, and make a comment.